Very good afternoon to all. Gives me immense pleasure to be here this fine Sunday morning. And let me begin with a little bit of a nostalgic moment for me. I've been a teacher myself for students pursuing chartered accountancy for close to 20 years. And I began my day every day with almost about 1,200 students early morning, 6 to 8:30. It's almost 2 years since I've stopped teaching, and again being here, seeing so many students here, gives me that very big nostalgic moment. I'd just like to share two very important thoughts around this topic of innovation, where many tend to have some myths, some kind of inappropriate understanding of what constitutes innovation. I'd like to begin with an opening observation that each of us present here we are innovators. And if you are today not an innovator, if you have not acknowledged that you are an innovator, it is important that you realize that you need to be an innovator for the rest of your life, be it a professional life or your personal life. Each of us need to be an innovator. Innovation should be part and parcel of the DNA. And I will share with you these two common myths which will help you to understand why I am so forcefully articulating that each of us are an innovator. Being an innovator is not a choice, and I reiterate, innovation is not just for professional life, it's even for one's own individual personal life as well. When it comes to innovation, let me begin with three very relevant quotes. One is from the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. All of us sort of resonate or connect with him. And he had made this observation multiple occasions. He has said, innovation no longer remains a choice, but is an imperative. Before Mr. Obama laid down his office, in one of his big public speeches, he goes on to say that, I quote, "We know that the nation which goes all in on innovation," nation means each one of us, goes in for innovation today, will own the global economy tomorrow. And let me sum up with the third quote of somebody all of us adore, late Steve Jobs. He mentions that innovation distinguishes a leader and a follower. The two thoughts I wanted to share with you. First, a myth around, is innovation equal to creativity? Are both the same? Are innovation and creativity one and the same? Sujit did mention it, and I want to highlight this because more often than not, many of them do not innovate because they confuse innovation with creativity. Ideas that are original in order to solve problems as well as achieve goals, they are creativity. Whereas developing and implementing an idea so that they can have value is innovation. The process of implementing and developing an idea is innovation. Summing up with these two, the difference between creativity and innovation is that innovation has action built into it. Creativity stops with thinking, generating an idea, but translating that idea into something and you achieve. That particular process is what constitutes innovation. And each one of us are all action oriented in our way, and hence I keep saying that all of us here have to embrace innovation. The second important myth I would like to address upon is again what Sujit also touched about, is innovation equal to invention. They are as different as chalk and cheese. All of us cannot be inventors. We cannot be Thomas Alva Edison. We cannot be inventors. But all of us are and have to be innovators. In a purest sense, invention is the creation of a product or introduction of a process for the first time. Innovation, on the other hand, improves on or makes a significant contribution to an existing product, process, or a service. And the poster boy of innovation is Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is not an inventor. He is not an inventor. He is only an innovator. Let's take the iPod, which is the first famous product with which he got associated. All of the technologies surrounding the iPod, all of them existed even before iPod came. iPod just ensured that all those existing technologies were all engineered, were all designed in such a manner that it changed the experience of how somebody listens to music. And that's innovation. And I can share with you from my experience in industry of 25 years that all organizations which have been innovating themselves survive. Let's take the most valued company today on earth. The most valued company today on earth is Uber. If you look at Uber, it does not own any assets. It has the largest command of the fleet of vehicles on Mother Earth, but it does not own a single vehicle. What is invention in Uber? There is nothing. There is no invention whatsoever in Uber. All that Uber did was the aggregation model which existed in the travel industry, Make My Trip kind of portal, Clear Trip kind of portal. It is that particular aggregation model which they have packaged it for rendering the service of travel. And that's innovation. There is no invention whatsoever as far as Uber is concerned. You can name all the companies which are there, the most sought after companies which are there, all of them have been great innovators. Very little of invention, majority of them is actually around innovation. Innovation is all about what is something there, how do I do it differently? And that particular element is what is referred to as innovation. And friends, from a money standpoint of view, just to give you a finance backdrop, when we spend money on invention, what we call as research, outcome may or may not come, all of the money which is spent is recognized as an expense. But when it comes to innovation, you do it with a particular purpose, and all of the money which is spent on innovation is treated as an asset and is amortized over a period of time. Let me conclude with a few closing observations. I do acknowledge that India is as a society is to a large extent driven by criticism. But having said that, let's all also take pride. It is the same education system which has evolved over the last 70 years, which has produced the brightest of minds. Given the state of economy, each state you reinvent yourself, and what has produced last 70 years may not be relevant for the future, but certainly education is getting reinvented. While we need to be critical, we also need to acknowledge the fact that there has been good amount of success achieved from the existing education system as well. And on this, let me quote Mahatma Gandhi himself. On all innovation, this is a quote which he gave almost 75 years back. He said, on all innovation, They first ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight with you, and then you win. And connect it with the non-violence movement of achieving freedom. Non-violence was something everybody knew. There is no invention there. But the way he used non-violence to get freedom, that was innovation. And when he did that non-violence for freedom achievement, first people actually ignored him. Then people started laughing, what was this skinny man going to do? Then they started fighting with him, and then he won. The same is true with each one of us. When we innovate, all of us will go through the same phases where anything you innovate, people will ignore you. Slowly they will start laughing at you, and then they will start fighting with what you have done. And that's when you actually realize that you have actually won. And this is what our own father of the nation told 75 years back. And we need not look for innovation elsewhere. And let me close with one of the most famous quotes on innovation, again from our own Mahatma Gandhi. And I would like all these young minds later to Google and learn what this quote is all about. Mahatma Gandhi's famous quote on innovation is, "Solitude is the catalyst of innovation." What is solitude? You spend your own time on what it is. It is not loneliness. It is not being alone. It is not a negative expression. Understand what solitude is, and that solitude is the best catalyst for innovation. Best wishes to all of you, and my sincere thanks to ICT, ACT and Sairam College for having invited me to be here this fine morning. Best wishes to all of you.